April 6, 2022 Board of Selectmen's meeting to order at 6:30. Mr. Pinio, do we have need for non-public?
We do under 4 items, RSA 91A 3, Roman numeral 2, lowercase a, dismissal, promotion, compensation of public employee, lowercase d, sale, acquisition of property, lowercase e, pending litigation, and I, lowercase I, preparation, carrying out of emergency functions.
Okay, thank you. First item on the agenda, the minutes of March 16th. Does anybody have any corrections or changes? I do. On the front page, under HB2, meals and room tax, the third sentence down, it should be $465,631. On page 2, no, I don't have any on 2, and then it's on 4. On the 1, 2, third paragraph up from the bottom, it's Mr. Dow, not Down. And those are the 2 I have. Does anybody else have any changes or corrections? Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and 1 abstention. Next item on the agenda is the reorganization of the Board of Selectmen. First position is chairman. Do I have any nominations?
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Dave Senecal, our vice chair now, to be chairman for this coming year.
Okay. Do I have any other nominations? Hearing none, can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Dave Senecal will be the next chairman. Vice chairman, do I have any nominations? I'd like to nominate Brad Harriman.
Second.
We got a second already? Okay. Any further discussions or nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I'll abstain on that one.
I think that might make sense. Okay, the next item in the packet are the rules of procedure, and we look at them at the first meeting. When we reorganize, any changes are voted on at the second meeting, and the only thing that I saw had to do on page 3 up at the top, it says number 8, old business tabled or pending, and we have not been putting that on our agenda. We have just gone to other business, and I would think that we would just want to remove that. So we can vote on that next time. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
The next item in our packet is the list of committee assignments. That's in there to remind everyone what they've signed up for, and Dave, you'll take care of that at the next meeting, assigning people. So that's just for your information. All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda is the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to consider a temporary event permit for 68 Hours of Hunger to host a musical fundraiser in Kate Park and community bandstand on July 3rd, 2020 at 11:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Is there anybody who'd like to speak to this permit? And just state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Eileen Levitt, representing N68 Hours of Hunger. You remember last year we attempted to do this, but the COVID and a hurricane prevented us from succeeding. So this folk group, Benson, is going to be performing most of the afternoon, and we will have a table set up to solicit donations from the community. And I have updated some of the paperwork.
Okay.
Because it wasn't complete.
Okay, and you can give it to the town manager. He'll be his secretary when you leave.
And any questions for me?
I guess not. I'll open up the public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this temporary event permit? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, do you have any questions on this? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve a temporary event permit for end 68 Hours of Hunger, Folsom Municipal fundraiser in Cape Park and Community Bandstand on 7/3/2022 from 11:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to move on. Next item is public comment, limited to 3 minutes per person, not to exceed 15 minutes. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak? Okay, hearing none. We are having, oh, looks like the computer is back up. For a while, the computer was updating, and so people couldn't access us virtually, but that it seems to be back up. All righty. Next item on the agenda is the bulk vote. March 25th manifest was $113,595.97. April 1st, it was $1,351,843.81. That is the Governor Wentworth Regional School District payment is in that large one. We have a property tax credit exemption. We have 8 intent to cut, and we have 1 property tax refund. Do I have anybody on the board who wants to remove anything or want to make any changes? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move to approve the bulk vote, items A through D.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All righty, we have a series of appointments to boards, and I'll read off the people who are applying for a position, and I'm going to start with the Agricultural Commission. If anybody is here and they'd like to come up to the microphone and give us any information about themselves, please do so. I have Macy Garthart. She wants to be an alternate. Marge Strunk wants to be a regular member, and David Strout wants to be a member. Is there any of those in the audience who'd like to speak? Okay, board members, any comments or questions? Can I have a motion?
Make a motion to appoint the members as listed to the Agricultural Commission for the terms expiring in March of 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're going to go on to the Cable Franchise Committee. Marshall Goldberg, Peter Schneider, David Wells, Timothy Goodwin, and Dennis Valdesco, I guess it's pronounced. Is any of those members in the audience? Hearing none. Board members, any questions or concern? Can I have a motion?
Move to appoint members as you got it? Go ahead. Move to appoint members as listed.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next is the Conservation Commission. I have Warren Muir, James Knupp, Brenda Gillette, and Peter Foley. He wants to be an alternate. Is there any comments or concerns? Anybody in the audience who'd like to speak? Come on up.
Hello, I'm Brenda Jarrett, and I'm honored to be talking to you tonight. Thank you all for considering all of the people who've stepped forward to be part of what has become our home since 2016. And I've worked with Lenore a little bit, and I've met some of the Conservation Commission members, and I have tons to learn. I'm even reading the booklet that Lenore gave me. So I appreciate everything that I need to learn and keep my ears open and my mind open and listen and understand this wonderful town and all of the wonderful land that we have. And I really look forward to putting in some good work to help the committee and commission move forward and protect this beautiful place where we all live. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions or concerns? Can I have a motion?
Move to appoint the members as listed.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next is the Economic Development Committee, Barry Elliott, Lucy Van Cleve, Jennifer French, those are members, and Phyllis Tessier as an alternate member. Is there anybody in the audience, any of those people who'd like to come give us any information? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint the members as listed.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Energy Committee is Dick Bird and Nancy Hirschberg. I don't see either of them here. Board members, anybody want to make a motion or have any concerns?
I'll move that we appoint the members as listed.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next committee is the Heritage Committee. Maggie Steer, Vaughn Dugan, Andrea Dudley, and she wants to be an alternate. Are any of those members in the audience and like to come up here and speak and give us any information about themselves? Seeing none, board members? Any questions? Can I have a-
Move to appoint members as listed.
Do I have a-
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next is the Milfoil Committee. It's Tom Arupka, Becky Bartlett, and John Russell. Anybody in the audience who'd like to come up and speak? Seeing and hearing none. Board members?
Make a motion to appoint the members of the Milfoil Committee as listed.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, last committee, Wolfeboro Waters, is Bree Rossiter. I think it's pronounced, I'm not quite sure of the pronunciation.
Rossiter.
What?
Rossiter.
Rossiter, okay. Anybody, is Bree here? Okay, board members? Can I have a motion?
Move to appoint as listed Bree Rossiter to the Wolfeboro Waters.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is new business. New business A is Hawkers and Peddlers Permit, location number 4, Wolfeboro Boat Company. Is anybody here? Come on up to the microphone. State your name.
Liz Hartford. And we want to do a cart with hydro flask, water bottles, stickers, and magnets that represent Wolfeboro and the Lakes region, and also do tie-dye, handmade tie-dye shirts and other items.
And they're all going to be for sale?
Yes.
And you're going to get the license from the state of New Hampshire and everything?
Absolutely.
Okay. Board members, does anybody have any questions or concerns? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve the position number 4 for Hawkers and Peddlers to Wolfeboro Boat Company.
Do I have a
Thank-
second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You got your spot.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is emergency management deputy position. Fire Chief Jim, are you going to start us off with this?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So one of the items that the Fire Chief Emergency Management Director has come forward with is he'd like to have a civilian member of the community as part of the emergency management team as a deputy. The rationale behind it is in a all-hands-on-deck emergency, that staff is, a lot of it's going to be in the field, and they need a civilian asset to be able to manage the Emergency Operations Center as the incident commander. Chief?
Excuse me. Thank you. That's essentially it. What we were hoping to move forward with was the ability, again, depending on the nature of a given emergency, it could be problematic, as I'm sure you can imagine, to take the senior staff of the fire rescue department and put them in an office. So over time and discussing with other communities how they handle that sort of thing, we came up with the idea of creating a deputy emergency management director position to work with us and be able to take the reins in an emergency that would require the town first responders to put their priorities out in the field. And that's essentially how we got here tonight.
Do any board members have any questions or concerns? Brian?
Yeah, I was just wondering, how do you make a decision on who you want for that position?
We have kicked it around a little bit. We have identified a couple of people we're familiar with who have fairly long resumes in emergency management, generally in other communities, have done some things locally. But we would certainly, entertain any suggestions perhaps the board might have. The intent is to move forward reasonably quickly because we're hoping to have someone in place to be able to assist us, frankly, for the 4th of July, for the weekend event where our assets will be out in the field, if you will.
And I'm assuming this is an unpaid position, or is it a stipend?
Currently, it is an unpaid position. Should we move forward, we would like to consider through the budget process to budget for a small stipend for that position.
So you're looking for a stipend for it?
Correct.
Okay. Just so people in the public
Yeah, understood.
can understand. Any other questions or concerns? I'm assuming we need a motion to let this go forward.
Yeah, to authorize the position.
And are we also authorizing Nate Nichols as the deputy position also?
We don't need to authorize that. That's part of his job description as deputy fire chief, but we do have to we've always had a second position, but we have to authorize a second deputy position.
All right. Does somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Did you get our motion?
Thank you.
All righty. Next item on the agenda is the Arbor Day proclamation, and I'll read it. Whereas in 1872, Julius Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first celebrated in the state of Nebraska on April 10, 1872, more than 1 million trees were planted throughout the state, and Arbor Day is now celebrated throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs when planted correctly around our homes, moderate the outdoor temperature, clean the air, consume carbon dioxide, and produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wild animals. And whereas trees are a renewable source, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our town increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of the business area, and beautifies our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewing. And whereas Wolfeboro has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for 38 consecutive years and deserves to continue its tree planting practices. And whereas for plantings have been donated by Bartlett Trees and the Wolfeboro Park and Recreation, therefore we, the Board of Selectmen of Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, do hereby proclaim May 6, 2022 as Arbor Day in the town of Wolfeboro New Hampshire, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, we urge all citizens to plant trees to glad the hearts and promote the well-being of this and future generation. Dated this March 23rd, 2000, it should be April 6, 2022. So we're going to have to change the date. Okay, can I have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to declare Arbor Day for May 6th, 2022.
Second.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next item is an appointment, Dan Ross, Pleasant Valley Road Condition.
Hi, my name is Dan Ross. Good evening, Chairman Murray and members, and thank you for this opportunity to speak this evening. I am here to request your help and consideration to appropriate the necessary funds to rebuild and resurface Pleasant Valley Road. With the exception of the Brewster Heath Bridge, it has been many years since any significant work has been done on Pleasant Valley. My family has owned property on Heath Trail since the mid-1940s, and I own my own home on Red Brook Circle, so I feel I have some knowledge and history of the road condition over the years. I am looking for your help now because the road is more dangerous and difficult to navigate. There is deterioration of the pavement and the roadbed, including broken down shoulders on both sides of the road, large chunks of pavement missing, and ongoing issues with large potholes. In many areas, the road is difficult to navigate, so drivers must straddle the middle of the road and avoid damage to their vehicles. This puts drivers and passengers in a serious safety situation. In recent years, the only maintenance that has occurred is pothole filling. And as you know, the patching lasts just a short while and always just a temporary fix, especially during the winter months. I understand that it is a long road. It's approximately 3.6 miles to the Brookfield town line and costly to repair. So perhaps the road could be completed over a 2-year time period. It is my belief that the residents of Pleasant Valley Road and connecting neighborhoods have been more than patient waiting for the repair of the road. After driving around Wolfeboro, it is hard to find another town-managed road in worse shape than Pleasant Valley. I am imploring the town to allocate funding to make the road safe for all travel, vehicle, pedestrian, and bicycling. Thank you.
Thank you. And can anybody who's here in the audience who is from Pleasant Valley Road stand up, and anybody else who'd like to make a comment can come to the microphone. Come on down. I just wanted the selectmen to see how many people are out tonight. Thank you. You can sit down. Okay.
My name is Jim Noble. I have lived on Red Brook Circle off of Pleasant Valley Road since 1988 and been driving on Pleasant Valley Road since I learned to drive in the summer. And I endorse everything Dan just said. I think the condition of the road is really deplorable, but I wanted to add to his excellent comment that this winter and early spring, I've seen something that I've not seen before, which is a large area of pooling of water. It looks like it's coming off of a hill, and obviously water comes off of hills. It wouldn't be news or somebody could contribute to the discussion to say that that happened, but I've actually never seen that happen in this place before. I've wondered if there isn't something up on top of the hill, a house or a home or something like that, that perhaps was leaking water from a broken pipe. I don't understand how that came to be, but I was hoping that the board would endorse Public Works looking at that and seeing why that occurred this year. As I said, I have a long, long experience with Pleasant Valley Road in the winter, and I've never seen that before. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Kurt DeVilder, and I want to say I'm very impressed with the turnout tonight of all of my neighbors. I think it's wonderful that everybody's here in a show of support for what is a major issue for all of us. I'm not going to repeat the comments that were already made, but I want to add that not only is it inconvenient and potentially destructive to the vehicles of the residents, but also I think I have a major concern about if there is a need for emergency services to any of the residents or visitors on the road, that it would, at minimum, delay and potentially in a catastrophic way the emergency vehicles like fire or police personnel or EMTs from arriving at the location where the issue is occurring, which I think also is something that should be taken very seriously. The only other point I'd like to make, too, I suppose, is one, that I do have a business on that road in addition to my residence, so it detrimentally impacts people's willingness to come to my business, which is effectively a tourist-type agricultural, agritourism place. And so that directly impacts me that way. And also, it's something that's been in this town for a while and, is kind of a draw, so we wouldn't want people to be driven from that. No pun intended. And the other is that I would strongly voice my opposition against a 2-year repair of the road. I think if it's going to be done, it should be done right, and it should be done as one project as opposed to, because I do recall when it happened maybe 10, 15 years ago, as I'm sure Linda does, and it was a major inconvenience for the residents down there, and now there are only more people than there were 15 years ago, more houses, more residents, and more year-round residents than there were at that time, and I would hope that we would not have to live through a 2-year project of the scale and scope that we did when it was done over, I believe, 1 year the previous time.
Thank you.
My name is Anthony Stracklorsi. I live at 475 Pleasant Valley. And I'm just questioning that this road is known to be in the condition it's in. We're paying the taxes, but it doesn't seem to have any effect, that nothing gets done, other than the patches, which we know doesn't work. Money was spent, I believe, foolishly, for the money dumped into the library when I've never seen more than 5 or 6 cars there, when that money could have gone to a new police station, fire station, and repair the roads. Yeah, I've never seen any road as worse as Pleasant Valley driving around. Now we're going to be taxed for this rink. I don't use the rink. That money, again, could go to the police station, fire station. How long are we going to wait for Pleasant Valley to get fixed? 2, 3 years from now? It needs to be done right away. Forget the rink. Take that money, that's foolish money spent, and put it on the roads. Put it in a new police station and fire station.
Thank you. You could sit a little closer to the microphone, we can hear.
Certainly, certainly. It's a long road, it's been patched, it's been fixed, the brook has been taken care of. In fact, water gathers on that new beautiful bridge, so that might need to be looked at for freezing and frosting. And again, well represented here. You know, I'm here 18 years, active in the schools and in the community, and I just simply want to say it's time for Pleasant Valley to have some attention from Wolfeboro. Thank you.
Hello, Bobby Budman. I am out on Pleasant Valley Road at the end, a little past where Linda is. And on September 15th, 2014, I came before this board and I had inquired and asked about the safety on Pleasant Valley Road. The majority of you up there were on the board at the time. Dave Ford, who is in the room at the time, the board had voted on making precautions such as sharrows and other things priority on Pleasant Valley Road. It was voted in the positive. We are still waiting. That was 2,761 days ago that the board voted to make recreation a priority on Pleasant Valley Road. If we look now at the master plan and we consider biking and running and all the other things that happen on the road as we proceed forward with looking at the unsafe issues of the road, one of the things that Dave Ford brought up at the time was potentially putting in a sidewalk right at Camp School Road. and that should be in your archives, in your minutes from that date. If we can consider going forward when we're talking about safety to actually consider the recreation of the road. I know, Linda, I actually saw your child running on the road today in some pretty unsafe conditions, and I have seen our chief here have to bob and weave around vehicles. So our community uses this road, our high school uses this road. We have a lot of recreation on it. So going forward, as we repair the road, which it does need to be repaired, I would like the board to consider implementing recreation into the road. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank everybody for coming. Anybody else want to say anything? Come on up.
Yes, hi. My name's Lauren Sheely. I am just speaking in terms of cycling on this road. I've been cycling for many years, and it has gotten so bad that I have to, coming down to the bridge, I now have to either go into the center of the road or pull over and let cars pass. I've invested in a Garmin, $600 worth of equipment for my bike so that I can see, it lets me know that there's cars coming behind me so that I can pull out. So I know whether I can pull out or I have to pull over. But it is really, really dangerous. And it's dangerous coming up the road from the bridge as well. That whole piece, as a cyclist, is very scary. It's gotten really, really bad. And I think we should all be able to use that beautiful road. And I really hope everything is taken in account here that's been said. I've been here 23 years, and I used to feel sorry for people that live down that road. I was like, thank God I don't live down that road, and now I live down that road. and it's as bad as it's ever been. So thank you for your time. I really hope you can do something about this. And all at once, like Kurt said, that would be great. Thank you.
Do I have anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Mike Matos. I have lived on Orchards Road since about 2004. I just wanted to say there was some construction recently where they had put some pipes in the sides of the road. I'm sure a nice engineering company was asked to develop that plan. I just implore you, as you move forward with any construction that goes on Pleasant Valley, you ask the residents what they're seeing on the road, because I think we can find the problem spots and we know where there are issues. I know it's standard to ask the company and ask the engineers what they think, but obviously we just had as Kurt DeWilder said, we just had that bridge put in, and it's already got a huge puddle on it that sits there constantly anytime there's rain. So that's just going to cause more damage. So those are my comments moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else like to say anything? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Sandy Wing. I live on Pleasant Valley Road. I've been in town for 35 years, and I agree with what Lauren said. I used to feel really bad for people that live on Pleasant Valley Road whenever I went down there to make animal house calls. But now I'm there now too, and I just feel like pedestrians, bikes, and cars and going in both directions, we're all sharing the yellow line because you cannot go down on the sides. And not to mention how often everyone has to get their car aligned, and I just hope that it's not going to require motivation of a really bad injury on that road to motivate the town to fix it. And I think one of the biggest problems is it has really, really bad drainage. It's got a bad foundation. If you don't fix the drainage, the water always funnels onto the road. And it's just, I'm tired of them taking the Band-Aid approach, because you have to do it every year, and every year it gets worse. So I really hope that you try to look into a permanent solution ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I want to thank everybody coming tonight to support this. I have, as I've driven down, made a call when we had, as Dr. Noble talked about, that huge amount of ice across, and when it finally got across two sides of the road, I called Dave Ford, and the crew was out there shortly to take that ice away. when there were the big potholes coming onto Route 28, I called, they came, and when the big potholes came the other side of the bridge. But those were just ones that I felt were so dangerous I couldn't let. And I agree with you, the road is in awful shape, and I thank you for coming. But one of the things I do want to show you, that we do have a summary of our roads, and we had them evaluated in 2019. Pleasant Valley Road was done, and it was to be scheduled for 2021 and 2022. And it looks like we just missed the time, because if I would say anything in the last 2 or 3 years, it's gone downhill dramatically. So, and it talks about the edging and stuff. After we get done with your comments, Dave Ford is here, and I think he has given some real thought to Pleasant Valley Road and may have some suggestions on how we can do it, and Jim has met with him. Brad.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I was wondering if it would be appropriate to move item G up to our next item while these folks are still here, which is the item that's addressing the emergency repairs that we're going to talk about, if just put it out of order. And
Perfect. You're making that motion.
I did make that motion.
Okay, and do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? The board's willing to move that E behind F and G? Okay. Jim, do you want to start this, or you want to have Mr. Ford?
Sure, I'll start it while Dave works his way up. You know, one of the things that Dave has been saying for a number of years is we've got to invest $1.3 million into our roads every year. That number is escalating each year because of the cost of the construction. We have Pleasant Valley Road as being able to potentially utilize some of our ARPA funds to do some emergency repairs. But that's going to be all we will be able to do this year, because the money that the voters approved was very specific to a certain degree of projects. So I guess the question is, do we do these emergency repairs now and come in 2023 with a warrant article for Pleasant Valley for the repairs that need to be done? With that said, I guess I'll hand it over to Dave.
Thank you. Dave Ford, Public Works. And first, I'd like to apologize for the condition of the road. I think the condition should not be blamed on the workers. Our guys plow the road, do the best they can. Emergency management is tough when the road bans are on, so it was a very difficult year. So, again, very difficult. Sorry about that. We have 66 miles of road. We try to spread the money out and take care of the different roads. We've been underfunding road construction since I've been here. We started off at $400,000 back in 2006. We've been tracking and trying to take care of all the town roads. I'm really troubled by what I've just heard, and I'm not sure what I've proposed is the right solution. And I don't know if people really understand what it would cost to build a road they envision. And I'm not sure I agree with when we look at all the roads in town, and we look at the road was back when we had to put gravel on top of the pavement to get your son's car out of the road. And then we also, and there's a lot of people out here, because when we looked at the bridge, and the bridge was a project that we had to expedite to get in before it fell down. So we do understand there's a lot of people out there, very important. And I'm embarrassed about the puddle. We are working to try to solve that. That's, again, there were a lot of issues with that. So the proposal I had here was to try two. One was a really bad idea, which we won't talk about that one. But the idea of trying to get $420,000 from the local ARPA money, which we now understand can be used for other things than water and sewer, because originally we thought it had to be used for water, sewer, and infrastructure. I think we're pretty clear it can be used for roads, and in this situation, it's an emergency condition. The problem is that I cannot rebuild all these sections of road with that limited amount of money. And what we looked at was trying to get the worst sections and continue what they just criticized us for. And I don't know if that's a good idea.
I just think that I think that it would be nice to be able to do it all in one time, but if doing it in segments gets the road done over 2 years, there's some sections that are way worse than others. The section from DeValder up to Brackett Road is in very good shape. There's the area coming from the top of the hill down to Point Breeze. The Point of Pines is a bad one, and from the bridge all the way back to Route 28. And then it seems like on some of the other ones, you might be able to patch the side of the road so they don't get there as it, and then keep on moving in segments, down the.
Again, it's what we've been criticized for here, because we've been doing that for 10 years. For 15 years, we've been trying to jump between here and there. To do it properly is, unfortunately, to engineer the road, to put it out to bid, and then to see the price tag, which would be significant, to solve all the problems that were brought up. It's not an easy job. And what we're proposing is to shim overlay. That's a 10-year solution. Brad would know. In the sections that we can rebuild, in the areas where the ones that are decent, those are areas that we reclaimed, we put fabric down, we put gravel to it, so we raise it. So we got so everything they said is right. This is an old cow path that expanded over time.
Correct.
And it was never built properly.
Correct.
So, but every time we try to do it correctly, we don't have the patience, because the Epiphany Farm, we were going to do that one. I started to do the engineering, and I was like, so we shim overlaid it, and then once you shim overlay, well, let's let it last, and it's lasted for 10 years. Now it's a mess again. It's worse than it was 10 years ago. But then we jumped, because we only had so much money, so we did a section here, we did a section there. We realize now, and that's what our plan has been, if we come to the town meetings, we always talk about trying to spend more money per mile so that we can reclaim the base, we can put the proper drainage in, which is a lot we haven't done that. We're guilty on that one. And then to build BMPs now, so that in areas where we have runoff into serious wetlands, or we try to build stormwater. So that cost Maplewood subdivision, which is a pretty bad road, and that's the one we're doing now, is small in comparison to Pleasant Valley. $1 million, we just signed a contract today.
But I think, Dave, the problem with Pleasant Valley Road has always been it's a big price tag, and so it never gets completed, and I think that's the frustration. Up by us, that can go for a while. That's been rebuilt all the way down. There are sections of the road that have been rebuilt, and there are sections that still have not been, and I don't believe from the top of the hill in front of Point Breeze all the way through to the Point of Pines has been rebuilt.
Right. But what happens is every time I try to get the plan going, it always gets pushed off. So when we tried to start, Stoneham Road was worse. We got that one done, this Maplewood. So Pleasant Valley was going to be engineered this year for bidding next year. But with the prices we're seeing, it's not realistic to think I'm going to get 2.5 miles done for $1 million. This shows me here is how did the rink get done? They get up here and they say we need to do something. If they would come up during the CIP process and say we need to do something, and then you then would have to bring the money and say, look, we need to spend more money on roads. I've been saying it.
Dave, they're here. They complained to me, and I said, come in here. That's what they're doing right now.
But I want them to know I'm taking responsibility. But you have to take responsibility because it's not enough money. And if you want to get things done, squeaky wheel gets it. So form the Friends of Pleasant Valley Road, and then you start working because it's going to be a lot more than $400,000.
So one of the things that I know Dave has talked about in the past very passionately, and I think this is something that we may have to look at for this project, because I think Mr. DeVilder brought up a good point about not wanting to phase this type of project. Dave has talked about bonding some road projects in the past. That may be the best option next year, is come forward with a standalone bond project for that entire road and have it done in the summer of 2023 and be done with it.
I don't think we can go through a summer with the way the road is from the Heathbrook to Route 28 without having some kind of an accident on Pleasant Valley Road, because people are running and driving down the middle of the road. So I don't think that can happen there. I just really don't.
Then the only solution is what Dave's proposed here in his...
Well, and there's a compromise.
and that again is A, a commitment to spend more money on roads, B, people need to understand that it will not be a solution that'll happen all at once. It'll be phased, and unfortunately, some money will be spent this summer to take care of the emergency that you're talking about in response to delaying the bigger project, which has to be phased in with all the other needs in town. Because we have a lot of other things that are in the CIP that also been being pushed off.
Well, Dave, I think I really understand that more than
But everyone needs to understand, because you have a lot of people here tonight.
But yeah, they came because they have a road that in sections are in awful, and we're driving down the middle of the road, and they wanted to express it. And they came as a group to express it to you. Just why you said they needed to let people know, you're a good point. If they want to get money, they're going to need to show up some at the hearings. That's true, and keep our feet to the fire. But I think you have a bunch of people here who are really concerned about their road and the condition of their road, and we're trying to come, and I thought you started with a solution.
I do. Well,
okay.
It's not the solution to their problem.
But we don't have to do their solution because we know what's available to us right now. And you, I think we're out there today, know what it looks like from the Heath to Route 28 and the way you have to drive on that section of the road.
Oh, no, I've got it all scoped out, and I got a plan, but it's not, I feel terrible because they say, you know, why can't we do it the way they said? It's not so simple. It just takes time, and it's in a system of many years to get to this, and it's going to take many years to get us out of it. So what we will be doing is sections that will be shimmed and overlaid. There'll be ditching. We'll try to improve the drainage, but not the under drains, not BMPs. We'll do the best we can with town crews for most of it. The section coming down the Epiphany Farm Point Breeze, that's the worst section that has had nothing done. That is the one we had in the differential settling, 6 inches. That's the worst, and the ditches there are bad. So that's the area where I'm proposing $100,000 of drainage, including the reclaiming and rebuilding. So that would be a section, but only a section, which I think is the worst, that could be redone with the drainage, but it's not going to have any, you know, it's going to be, you know, 20-foot wide with the shoulder, similar to what we've been doing at Stoneham Road, and, you know, that type of design. So we were with Integrity today trying to size that up and get prices on that so that can fit in with, and that's what I put a budget in. You have $100,000 for drainage, in addition to the $420,000, which most of it would be Pleasant Valley Road.
And you're talking about doing from the Heath all the way up to Route 28?
This would include from Route 28 to the bridge.
Okay.
Bridge up to
New
Brown
Garden.
Road. And then we skip a piece. And that piece is one we're having some unraveling. So those will be tacked and patched.
Okay.
We've got to buy time.
Okay.
And the shim overlay is just buying us time.
Gotcha.
Then we get to the top of the hill where it's really bad coming down to Point of Pines.
Yep.
That's the section that would be rebuilt. Okay. The sections that don't get done, the section by Devalder Farm, which is in bad shape, that's going to have to be fixed, and in combination with hopefully fixing the Townsend Brook culvert, because we're studying that one, we're getting our permits. So I expect that to be in the budget next year. Beyond that section where the traffic starts to die down, then gets into Brookfield, we got all kinds of messes. It's bad beyond Brackett Road up. It's really bad shape. So we're, but that's not as much traffic. That's not being touched this time either. What we would do by buying time in each of the sections now gives me some time to do the proper engineering and then to look at a project. But will it be next year that we do the rest of the sections? I can't tell you right now. We just signed a contract with Stantec to help me with the road surface management system update. Okay. So hopefully we'll have that all by August. And we can have a plan. We'd like to have, we'd like to have public input. A gentleman, yes, they do know it was a weird year. I cannot explain some of the things that happened. Mother Nature was having a hell of a time up there saying, oh, you think you know what's going on. Let's do this and let's do that. She shifted around a little bit on us. So it's, and I can't explain it. But we have to look at that. We do know water flows downhill. So you chase it. And you put the drains in we got to put, but they cost money. And even now, we put the bid out, $1 million. They're crying already, losing money because the price of pipe has doubled, you know, time since the bid. And it's difficult. So again, hopefully they can understand that. We will look out for some input from the public on that. The proposal here, we should go over it now because I was throwing off my game plan, I guess.
Go over it.
So originally, $1.3 million budget was set for $1 million for Maplewood subdivision, In addition, we have some money for the water system that needs to be upgraded in that neighborhood. That second is $200,000 for the Diamond Corner and Haynes Hill paved sections. Some are going to be shimmed, some will be ground and redone. Again, areas where the roads are terrible, terrible shape. If anyone from Pleasant Valley wants to go visit the Berkowitzes, they can maybe complain about how bad the road is up there because it's pretty bad. The upper, so that's, and then $100,000 was for engineering, which was for the oversight and construction administration of the Maplewood project, which is going to be this summer, and for the design of sections for next year, and for the Rsms updates. Last year's money we have left over was for the Stoneham Road overlay, and we had extra money for Allen Road. So those are roads that were rebuilt to good standards. My emergency plan, which was a bad idea, let's not do those overlays, and let's go bring it to Pleasant Valley Road to at least shim it. And I would hurt myself there because I don't protect the investment I made there by not topping the road. And for everyone else, that means we rebuilt the road, we put the drainage in, we put the base course in, we let things settle, make sure everything, then a year later we come back with the overlay. So if we delay the overlay too long, then the base can be deteriorated. So that's the strategy we have. So we are thinking about it. So that was the original plan, and that's what we were, so then the emergency was page 2 here, in which we broke down by sections where we would do the sections, Route 28 to Crossroad to the bridge to the New Garden Road. That was $157,000. That was all shim and overlays. And when we say by shim, we go back not only to fill the potholes, we try to bring the crown back and then overlay the whole thing and cap it, so that you will have a good riding surface for so many years, and then it will start to deteriorate again. This is where it's kind of a tough one, but because it's so bad, I think we have to do something. I don't think we can live with that for another winter. We can't plow it. So it has to be done one way or another. So those sections, shim overlays, would just be delaying major upgrades. Then down below, we have Upper Trask, which is another horrendous road. We haven't got into that one yet, but that one plan was to do drainage this year and then put that off another year, but I'm afraid I won't be able to plow that. That's gotten that bad. So we have that one included as a reclaim and base pave, and then we have the last section, 85,000, is a reclaim down by Epiphany Farm. And then I put in another 100,000, which we contract out for the drainage in those areas, and then 10,000 for engineering and contingencies. So that total was 419,000, say 420,000, and then so this discussion then goes back into the ARPA discussion. But this is what I was proposing with regards to the emergency work to address concerns.
And that's with ARPA funds?
This would be with 420,000 coming from ARPA funds.
ARPA funds, okay.
Everything on the second page is ARPA. Everything Pleasant Valley. We had nothing planned for Pleasant Valley Road this year.
Okay. Any other board members have I been kind of, Brad?
Yeah, I'll kick it a little bit here. I sat down with Dave, what, a week, 2 weeks ago, I think it was. We met, we went over all these details and stuff, and I completely agree with him that, we had talked about the possibility of not overlaying Stoneham and Allen Road. We did conclude that was a bad idea because of the money that was put into those roads and to jeopardize the work that was done in there. I came away feeling that we really need to put those tops on to protect what we've already invested in those. So I agree that was a good approach there. And then, I went down and looked at Pleasant Valley Road and stuff before our meeting, and these sections that Dave has laid out here are the right sections there to just put that money into. And here in the audience here tonight, keeping in mind that this isn't going to fix the whole road, but it's going to make it much safer and better to use for the next couple of years while we address how we want to do the entire road. And just hearing Jim here a few minutes ago talk about, maybe taking this as a standalone warrant article to bond it, besides our regular $1.3 million that we do there, put a standalone project out there for the entire road. I really think that's a good idea, and that'd be the approach to do. That way we go down and you guys are only disturbed for, you know, hopefully one could be a good solid season, I'll tell you that. That's going to be a 3.5 miles of road to rebuild. But that would get the road done and then, you know, get the bases all done. And doing these emergency works that Dave's talking about, a lot of it, it's not going to be like we're wasting this money on it either, because the drainage that we put in would be obviously utilized in the new reconstruction of the roads. Even the shims and overlays here would come in to regrind. That material would be salvaged off and stuff. It could be brought back in on the road too and stuff. So there'd be, it's not like we're taking the $420,000 and throwing it away when we do, whether that comes in at 3, 4, or 5 million, whatever it comes in at to redo Pleasant Valley Road. We'd be utilizing some of the costs for what we're doing in the 420 would be utilized within that project too. So I think this is a good plan. I think this gets the road to the best that we can with the monies that we have right now. Gets these people and the pedestrians and the bicycles, everybody feel a lot safer on the road, not having to swerve around potholes and soft shoulders and stuff. So I think it's a good approach, and I would support this. So.
Linda.
Yep.
I have just a couple of questions, not for you, Dave. Thank you for everything you do for us. But I just have a couple of questions. For everybody in the audience, raise your hand if you voted for the Pop Whalen rink. I want to see hands. I want honesty. No? Yeah. I want to know how many people... Yeah. They can choose to raise a hand or not. So I want to know who voted for the library when the library was built. So we have tough choices to make. And it's hard for people to come up and say that as a board, we're not trying to help the entire community. We're trying to build roads. We're trying to help our fire station. We're trying to help build rinks for children. We're trying to have cross-country ski trails. And there's a lot of things that the town does. And I don't want the people in Pleasant Valley to feel like they're slighted because we just haven't gotten to there yet. Everybody understands the situation there, and it is something that is going to be done. But we have to make choices, and sometimes they're very difficult choices.
Dave, when Santex does the upgrade of it's a road surface management plan, and I have 2 volumes. We spend a lot of time and money to do that. Will they take a good look at how best to do Pleasant Valley Road in this, or are they just going to go over the surface?
No, they're going to be intimately involved with these emergency repairs at the same time planning and asking, because we're going to be out there, so we'll probably try to get a way that the public knowledge can get to our field engineer. Okay. Again, not your office engineer. We got a good guy. I think Brad's worked with him before. Jonathan's going to be working on us with that. He was out there with us today. So as we look at these projects, we will be scoping that up. Next year, again, because of a plan we had, which may have to change again, we were trying to use road money to be parlayed with the vintage water lines and do some projects in town. So again, if it's okay to look at a bigger project, which we could separate from the regular road money, then we would definitely start designing now. But I don't have enough design to hold the road. What we're trying to do is cost-effective construction documents. And what we put out for certain projects don't have a lot of detail. They have a detailed survey because we can do it. But when you get into more complicated areas where you have trees and you have scenic roads, we have the walls, we have the drainage, it's a much more complicated project. And that is a scenic road, I think, too.
It is,
and
correct.
I don't have a lot of trees that are dying, and I got to cut them down. Do we have to go to have a hearing? Can we just cut them because they're all over the place?
Some
Ash
big
trees are
ones,
dying.
yeah. That you had flags on today?
We're going to have to put another bid out. I'm trying to do emergency work. Cape Concrete took one down. We're going to have to spend over $20,000 just to take all the trees down. All the ash trees are dying up there. It's terrible. So, again, we will do the best we can, but I guess are we going with this plan? I kind of lost my train of thought.
I think the board, I haven't called for a motion yet. We're just still gathering the information. Brad's made a comment. Brian has. Anybody else want to make a comment on it?
I mean, I'll just piggyback on what Brad said. I mean, and, Dave Ford has, the miles of roads that we take care of in Wolfeboro, we certainly understand that there's an issue. And, I think going off of what Brad said, get some of the emergency repairs done to make the road, safe and functional for at least, the season. And then I think we probably should look at a standalone, for next year, so that, or coming soon, so that this road is taken care of. I mean, it's going to be a big number, but it's needed. So.
I would even propose potentially a work session with the Board of Selectmen in the summer before we get to CIP. Because of the issue with the road takeovers, there's going to be a lot of that discussion, and because of the CIP, and what we have so many needs, and we are backlogged. Hopefully, we'll have the RSMS by a certain date. When we have that, that'll be the kickoff. Maybe we could have a special workshop just on roads.
I think that makes sense. Dave, right? Don't you think that makes sense?
Then at that point, the public can hear what, again, it's not just your road, everyone's road, but
Yep.
and then and other people can come and give their 2 cents also.
Yeah, the other issue is, it's not just us that are involved as far as the selectmen. We present a budget, goes to the budget committee, they have a swipe at it. We have the CIP before we even get it. So people come to us like they did tonight. We take that information and we have to send it back through our people. Well, Linda's in the CIP, some of the rest of us deal with the budgets and so forth. That all has to be done along with you people telling us what you want. But it isn't just us that makes that decision. There are other parts of the town, as most of you know, between town meeting, capital improvements program, and the budget committee that act on these things as well. It isn't just us, but it starts sometimes with us.
Jim, do you want to say anything more, or are you all set?
No, it looks like you may have some more citizens who want to speak. I don't know if you want to.
Do we want to open it?
Go ahead.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned.
We're going to open it up to the last few, and then I'll get a motion. Come on up.
Yeah, just speaking for myself, I want to correct a misimpression if one was created. I've been the COVID response coordinator for Concord Hospital Health System for 26 months and consultant to 4 school districts, and so I'm not unfamiliar with the public being agitated about something. I've been very impressed with the work that Public Works has done through the winter in all the town roads. I don't think that they're responsible for the rain or the snow or the ice or the freezing. This is in Arizona that we live in. This is New Hampshire. So I don't hold Mr. Ford accountable for things that haven't been budgeted, haven't been planned, and haven't been ordered to be done. I think that would be wrong to do that, just, again, speaking for myself. Ever since I've lived here, I've been impressed with the work that Public Works gets done with the resources that they have, and so I just wanted to give them a good word about that. Still hopeful that the road will get fixed, but I know what it's like to stand up there and hear from the public more than I ever wanted to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you need my name?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Melissa Burke, and I live off of Pleasant Valley Road. But I wanted to echo that. Like, I really hope that you see that these are neighbors just coming to ask you. I know that the people that live off of my road, we've been working on our own projects because we're our own homeowners association, and we're neighbors. So even when we disagree, we work together, and I hope that you realize that that's the nature of the people coming to you. We appreciate what you do. We're just finding it dangerous. And I'm wondering, too, this is a kind of a second part of the question, when you're talking about bonds, I'm not quite sure how that works. I wasn't sure if there's a special assessment that could be done or there are other options that could be available to raise the funds in time for us to need. But the idea of a workshop that we could all be invited to, that is fantastic. That makes us all feel like we're part of, you're hearing us. And I think that's really what people were coming to say today. Am I wrong? Or I think if you had, raise your hand if you came to say, hey, this is just what's wrong. I think that we appreciate all of you, not just not just the highways, but I just wanted to come say that I hope that you realize that we do appreciate you, and we were not coming, I don't think, at you in any negative way. So thank you. You were kind of a sensitive guy. We like that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I was just coming up here to sort of reiterate the same thing the last two people said, that when we stand up here as citizens, we come forward because there are things that, because we live there, we can see them day to day. And if we can't organize like this and stand up before the board to let the board know what's going on. I mean, when Linda just said the road was technically 2019, I get it. We all get it. COVID happened. Everything got set back. Board meetings happened from people's homes. But as citizens, when we get up here, it's not to in an adversarial way. It's just to stand up here and say, hey, this is a concern. And we voted this board in to be our voice, who then, say that again? Well, because you felt like we were attacking you, Dave, and we're not. We're just really not. We just, as citizens, I know that I came forward just, and honestly, Brian, just please don't ever ask us our votes again. They're private. That's just kind of a private vote. And paying for a library is not equivalent to paying for Pleasant Valley Road. If you want to talk about what Sewell Road looks like, and then you want to talk about Pleasant Valley Road, well, let's have that conversation, because that's comparing apples and apples.
I've addressed that at meeting before.
But we're all friends here. We're part of the same community, so can we just know that when we step forward, we're doing it just as concerned citizens. We're not trying to beat anyone up. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been in your face and walked around and we've done, so thank you. And really, we do kind of go, man, I'm working at this, you know. And so, and again, we just want to, like we've said, come here and say this is important, it's unsafe. We absolutely appreciate that you have other people that you need to speak to. Yes, the road will soften. We can get her fixed. We can get her safe. We can do the bond. We can do it all. We can be involved. We just don't want it to be that one of the students that's running track on it gets bumped by a car, that one of us on a bicycle. We just don't want to get to that place. So we just need to fix what we can right now with the money that we have, and then we look to be proactive in doing the bond and making it right. It's a beautiful neighborhood, it's a beautiful street, and it really is time for Pleasant Valley to have some attention. Thank you all for what you do and for your time.
Okay, thank you all for coming again. And this is what my understanding is that we are going to vote on. We're looking at a section, and there are 3 sections, but it goes from Route 28 all the way up to New Garden Road with not doing the bridge. And that's $157,964. Then we're voting on money for Upper Trass and Pleasant Valley culvert joint, and then we're looking at in-house work on Pleasant Valley, and the whole total comes to $419,597. Am I correct? I'm reading from the right section?
Yep. Yeah. I'd rather use round numbers. Go with 420.
All right, I'll take 420.
Because when we go to the opera funding, I use that in my spreadsheet, 420.
Okay.
Because this is now goes into the next discussion about how much we have total and how much we would appropriate for the roads. And those those exact numbers, but they don't ever work out that way because the tonnage may be different and all that stuff.
I'll take 420.
But you were correct. So it basically is shim and pave for those sections and then rebuild the section I described. And 100,000 is for drainage for overall for the whole road.
That's what we're voting on. Everybody understand? Yep. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we appropriate the $420,000 from the ARPA funds for that road work that's just described, for Pleasant Valley Road, and for the small portion up there on Upper Trask Mountain Road, as it was outlined in the memo from Dave Ford to us.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll get some work done for you.
Thank you. And just to the public too, again, I just have the burden of all, so I feel your pain. I'm embarrassed that you have to come here. We should have taken care of this before that. It just hurts me. Not that, I'm happy you're here. We want, like we said in August, the public participation is important. Local knowledge is important. We can work together on this to make it better. But it's not going to happen all at once. It's going to happen, and then safety, one of the issues of safety is speed. Everybody slow down. The only thing that's good about the potholes is you got to slow down. And when you got to go one way, you got to slow down. And you see someone running, you got to slow down. Once we pave this road, then you're going to have the police out there all the time because then they got going too fast. It's just please slow down, and we'll do the best we can. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, we've got that, Dave. Now we're going on. You have some other projects for the ARPA money?
Yes. Which one do you want to go to next?
Well, you get to call where we go, because we have now shuffled our papers, and we're
Yeah.
going to need some direction from you on where you are. At least I do. Okay. Thank you all.
Oh. When does budget season start exactly?
In July and August, we do CIP.
July and August is CIP, and when does budget season start? First in
We start seeing them in October, and the
October
Budget
first,
Committee in
So
November.
First week in October we start. I'm on the budget committee, and I sit there through many meetings all the time, and it's getting. Come see.
What can I say?
You'll be amazed.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, my jaw.
I think I'm back.
Yeah. You're out of control.
I don't give.
Hey, brain, be who you want to be. That's what I keep on telling you.
Gotta be what I gotta be.
Yep, you do. Okay.
Okay, so we move on to the local opera funding memo, which
Can you take that discussion outside? Can you, the people over there on the side talking, we need to go on with the meeting. Will you move outside? Thank you. All right, Dave.
So, we received local opera money in 2021, and we are receiving in 2022. The approximate amount, I believe, is 640, maybe a little bit more than that. We've received half of it, and we expect to see the other half. The selectmen, we originally talked about it in the fall, and we formed a committee to look at having rules and regulations so that we would make sure we spent the money properly. With procurement was our biggest issue, so we had a discussion. We actually came to the board, and so we're in good shape there. And then we found out that the projects, the money could be used for other projects, and pretty much opened the door for other infrastructure or other emergency work. So, and obviously we have plenty of those. So what I did here was, originally what we had discussed was using the bulk of the money to solve the specific problem in the town hall basement, which is tied to their foundation drain, which is tied to a pipe that goes into our sewer system. So technically it's I&I. And it's a very complicated project. So we issued $50,000 of purchase orders already to begin the base mapping and the TV cameraing of all the pipes in and around, all the way from Pickering Corner down to the bridge. So now we have a complete idea of the problem and where the solution is going to lie. But I don't think it would be smart to try to do this project alone, because we're going to dig up on South Main Street. The money that's going to be coming next year with regards to sewer, and we found out we have plenty of sewer I&I that we could get pretty good funding on. We know we have a vintage water line, which we've already got the $720,000 is covering the vintage water line, so we're going to start the engineering of that section. Then we have drainage, which is from the 10-year plan project, which ends at Pickering Corner, is tying into a pipe that we know shows up in a plan in 1938 It's vitrified clay pipe, and it goes all the way from there to the bridge, and it takes all the drainage that we need to tie into. And that pipe is cracked. So for all the people who just left want to know why I'm so freaked out, it's because at any time we could have a sinkhole there, and that's another major project which is going to require us to put up some money, even if we get a lot of grant money. The short of it is now we need to use emergency money for the emergencies, and projects that we can put off and get more funding, more grant money, then that's what we should do. So this one, while we have to run a sump pump once in a while, I think we can put this off, and that's why I'm suggesting using the money we just voted to go to Pleasant Valley Road. The other projects that I wanted to talk about, which are also in different stages here, and I think I handed out a revised sheet because Jim and I had talked, and some of the numbers had changed. So the sheet I just handed out, which gives you the update on the purchase orders to Stantec for the work we just talked about. And while that hasn't been spent, Linda, a lot of it has been committed.
Okay.
So you get that. We had talked about some of the sewer pump stations needing new control panels, and we had put that off. We didn't put it into the 2021 budget because we were hoping we could fund it with this project. And we have got updated quotes on those, and we that would be buying the sole source ones from Gorman Rupp and having our electrician install those. The other two projects on the sewer side, which are really trying to help out tough situations. The first one is Vani Road sewer extension. We have some houses out there that are having really problems with the septic. The ones that do have approved septics, they're right along the brook that leads into Back Bay. We've had requests, to extend. It's not a lot. There's only probably about 6 lots or so. So we're not sure. So I've got a quote from White Mountain Survey, Jim Rhines, to do survey evaluation and figure out whether we can get some more grant money for that one, extend that sewer, just so it's not a lot, but it would help an area, and it would make something that's serious. So that's the one for $45,000, and that's actually going to be a little bit less than that. The sewer road is the one over to Forest Road, and this is an extension of a low-pressure sewer, and it's something that was evaluated. The report, you did get to take a look at it.
And I'll give you years back. I got what I needed out of it.
Which is good. So Linda had asked a question earlier. Didn't we look at this when we looked at the Kerry Beach proposal? And we did, because we had looked at the whole watershed, and we say, how can we protect the lake? Each project would then theoretically get so many pounds of phosphorus out of the lake. And we were focusing on Winter Harbor on that side. And so when we talked about the big sewer projects, which were big price tags, as should we sewer Whitegate Lane and that side of the lake that's watershed in. And some of those alternatives would be a gravity sewer with a sewer pump station, pumping it back up to North Main Street. So those are the bigger ones, and we kind of discounted that being too much. Then we talked about a low-pressure sewer, extending it off the end of Forest Road, Sewell Road to Forest Road, and then that would be we can only get so many lots, in maybe 19, 20 lots, with the idea that that would take care of some of the cove on the other side of Kerry and pick up the beach. Again, that was pretty expensive. At that time, we weren't as focused as we probably should have been on that side of the lake. We had the outbreak on the Winter Harbor. So we did not do that. We focused on the beach project and doing as much as we could with stormwater. And on the septic, we didn't do anything. Since that time, we have now been made aware, Dave, I think, has been very involved with a failed septic system of a homeowner across the street from the beach. And as we look into it, it's not a simple fix. While that one person could spend 20, 30, 40, 50,000 on an individual system, it's not going to improve the problem we have. And the problem we have extends all the way from the cove. All the septic systems, even if they're approved by the state, nitrogen still gets through, and that close to the lake is going to have a negative impact. In addition, when work was done many years ago, a wetland was left. So some of these areas have a kind of a strange drainage which they're throwing leaves into, and those leaves are breaking down. They're going through this old town drainage system, which is kind of weird. That drainage system goes through this poor guy's leach field, and now the pipe has corroded because it's 40 years old. So he can't use his leach field anymore because we got a pipe and we have to replace it. So it's a mess, the whole area. So I was approached by a professional working for some people in this area, could we do it? And then I looked at it again, well, if you're willing to do it, maybe we could take a shortcut. So there's potentially cost savings now because people there are interested in doing it. And then we have this problem, which I think they're very interested in doing it. So now this becomes a project in which if we can use this as seed money to get the permitting, the easements, the design done, then I think it would qualify for saving, because if you look at the numbers, we're going to get pounds of phosphorus out of the lake, and that's really what we're geared towards. So I think if we do this now, we can apply next year and hopefully get the funding for the full construction.
Well, when I looked at it, I mean, it looks like the Forest Road, it's going to cost us $437,600 per pound of total phosphorus getting out. And that's, if this was, I'm looking at the chart, and the whole project would be over $4 million, if that is what you're talking about.
No, that's a different project.
This is a different project?
Right.
Okay.
So what we're looking at, again, that's why when those numbers were too much, we said, oh, can't even look at it. This is more specific to an area, and it's going to be a different type of construction, so the cost would be much less. But I still, again, I shouldn't say that with the way the escalation is.
So we're doing this, and my understanding is that nitrogen is not the big issue, it's phosphorus. And the phosphorus is what is affecting our lakes. That's why we're testing for just phosphorus. My understanding is nitrogen is more the problem in the ocean. I'm not a biologist, so I don't know for sure.
Which is why they allow septic systems so close to the lake, because the nitrogen doesn't, phosphorus gets tied up. But the closer you are, if you look at our models, even brand new systems will be leaching phosphorus into the lake. So when you look at the models we built, so anytime you can get a septic system away from the lake, you're better off.
Yeah, I'm not arguing. Okay. I just was the word nitrogen instead of phosphorus.
Okay,
that was where my point on that. I guess I need to have some kind of. It would be nice to see exactly what you're looking at doing. It's hard for me to, I know what we're looking at.
Oh, I can get you a plan showing the lots and everything? Yes. Well, yeah. I wanted to make sure the concept was okay so I can start, but before we commit any money, you'd like to see it on a plan, okay?
I have a hard time of knowing. I was looking at you doing something that was in here. Now this is totally different.
Well, it's not totally different. It's solving the same problem a different way.
Okay. So,
but I can put it graphically, and I can explain it better if I show you on a map what the old one was.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm struggling with.
Yep, we can do that.
If the rest of the board is comfortable with okaying the 50,000, I can go away with it. But I would like that pretty quickly, so that I know what we're doing here. And I
can get you a memo on that, and that'll be in your package. But it would be helpful to keep moving, because get the momentum going. I got a contract ready to go. If it worked, we can get going on it. If we want to wait and come back in a couple of weeks, then that just. But I can commit to making sure you can see what that is in relation to what was the big expense was, and I can give you my number, what I think construction would be once we.
Yeah, I would say if we didn't pass that one section tonight, we've got a work session next Wednesday.
Yep. No big deal.
That we'd have the maps and do it. That would be my only. But if the rest of the board is comfortable, I'm not going to hold it all up if everybody else is comfortable. But I do want to know and see those maps so I know what we were doing and what you are looking at now. So if somebody comes up and asks me, I have some idea of being able to tell them that. So I don't know where the other board members are. Brad?
Yeah, I've talked a little bit with Dave about this one also, and I'm comfortable with it. I understand it's basically going to be the extension of the low-pressure line where it ends now on Sewell Road, bringing out Forest Road, coming down to the beach, being able to pick up the beach, the lots in the narrows there, I guess we'll call it there.
Well, I'm going to be talking to some of the property owners, because we might be able to cut it to the Goodwin Road.
Yep, that's right, yep.
And if we can get permission, we can cut off a bit of
leg.
And that's where the expensive ledge would be, which would drive the cost up.
Yep.
So again, that's why I didn't want to go too far until the board knew what was going on, because I got to start asking and talking to everyone. So, so we have people that are interested. And I think it'd be good to give you an update and say, and that way I can have a plan and tell you where we are. So I'll get going on that.
But I think the concept, I really like the concept here of being able to get that area there, the potential to get off their septics and get that away from the lake and stuff, and being able to tie into town sewer system at a, I don't know if minimal cost is the right word, but it's definitely going to be the lowest cost option that we have out there.
Well, they would be paying, so that
Right.
we would, the
That's
connection
important
fees
to-
would be significant, and there might be, you have to figure out, because this is going to make their property so much valuable. And why we stop at the Kerry is because once we get to the next road, Hopewell Point, those are all more recent septic systems. They have the bigger lots, septics are behind the road.
Right.
So then, that's a different animal. We get the ones, and that would be the end. We wouldn't go any further than here on this end because of the way the system is. We can't, so some people, how come we don't go further? Well, that's about as far as we can. We're pushing as far as we can.
And we will get some kind of idea of how much capacity we're using up, because we have a lot of building going on. So we should keep an eye on as we do this.
We will have to do a permit to the state for this one. So we'll do, these plans have to get approved by the state, so they'll be looking at what I've been worried about, and which is why in another area we're studying the sewer flows. So that purchase order is going to be coming pretty soon in terms of looking at allocations and looking at the future with the spray area and potential other discharge. So that all will be coming up on this one. It's not a lot of flow, but it'll have to be approved by the state.
Dave.
Is there any chance I could get a copy of that by the end of the week, of what you intend to do down there? Because I have a meeting with DES next week.
Oh, boy.
Just a rough draft, David, of where it might come down.
Yeah, Jim's working on something now. I think he'll have something for us, so I'll talk to him
Okay,
tomorrow.
as soon as I could get that, just stick it in my box, so I have Terry.
I can definitely put something together if I don't have it. By Friday morning, I'll have it.
Okay, thanks.
And so, David, do I understand correctly? Will we be able to have the bathhouses at Kerry Beach active and working? Will they be hooked up to the new low-pressure sewer line across?
Yes. Yep. So we right now, we have both the porta-johns and the handicap. We didn't invest in a new bathroom because we couldn't afford it. Now that this is here, we didn't do away with the old bathhouse, so that's still there and functional, so it will be very easy to tie that one in with a low-pressure pump.
That's a
so
good
we can
thing.
keep the facility, and if we want to upgrade later, but I think it's pretty nice the way it is right now.
Yeah.
So
And
that would be
Dave,
just a really simple.
You ended up, when you did that project, you ran pipe in the ground just in case of that event, if I remember correctly.
We prepared for it.
So we won't have to dig up the parking lot. It's already,
Good.
infrastructure's there. Good.
Very good.
Nice job.
Nothing
That's usually
replicates
what we
more
do.
yeah,
Sometimes we
than
get
us
it right.
dig it up.
You always get it.
Luke, do you have any comments you want to make? Does somebody want to make a motion? Do
There's
people
one
want
more
to?
article on this one too, just so, the last item, if we're going to approve them all at once, was the budget that was put together for the truck was hit by escalation. I'm going to blame it all on COVID. And we were asking for $24,600 to cover the, over the $100,000. That was a warrant article we had, warrant, so this was specific to that. And I think it is, a good use of the money. We got a heck of a deal on the truck. I think Brad was involved on that one. We had to act quickly on it, or we would lose it. It was a truck that was being set up. They had purchased it before the new prices had gone in, and they had the plow equipment, so we could get it quickly. If we had to order a truck, it would be $50,000 more, and we'd have to wait potentially another year. It's crazy. So this now gets us going good. So we're going to be maybe a while before we see another new truck, but. So that was it, and then the 420, which we just appropriated, we just voted on before. So the total we're looking at is a plan of about $640,000 that could still move a little bit one way or another. But if you're in agreement with the overall concept, I guess that's what we're looking for, that we can continue moving forward. And I think the idea of giving you updates is a good idea as we move along.
So, does somebody want to make a motion? And I'd like it continued on you getting us the plans as soon as possible on where that sewer line is going. But if somebody'd like to make a motion?
I'll so move the $640,000 under the emergency local ARPA funding.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I guess we're going back to the Port Woodland Drainage Project. I think that's the last one you have.
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
just,
it's not the
this
last
one is more of a formality. I think we wanted to tell the board and make official, we had to, this was a very interesting project, and it was a combination of a public-private partnership. in addition to trying to improve the water quality of the Winter Harbor. The Port Wetland Beach is a privately owned by the Property Owners Association. It's a 100-lot association, and it's all town roads except for the last, say, 150 feet down to the beach. We've had the serious problem there. We talked about it at town meeting, and we got approved for a $420,000 project. We had to select the engineer by qualifications. We put out an RFQ package. We had 9 respondents. There are a lot of good engineers out there, and I did thank them all for the work they put into it. But we ended up, and we had a committee of staff look at it, and then we interviewed 3 companies, Stantec, DuBois & King, and Ty & Bond. All of them are excellent, but I think Stantec really stood out because they have a history with us. They've done the Downtown Street project. That was originally, they know all the hydraulics and drainage going down to Back Bay. They were on the Senate Street project as our engineer there, and the state just hired them as a sub to do the 10-year project. So it just makes sense that they now can be with the complete street project, as I envision from there coming down, to have the one consultant be able to do everything. And they're a big company that can do more than drainage and roadway. And the best part is we have a young resident engineer, Jonathan Bork, who is very pleasant. He works with the residents very well. You get nothing but compliments, and he knows how to take field notes, and he's a reasonably priced guy. So I am recommending that. And then what I also did is attached a list of all the consultants. We have all different projects. It's like getting mixed up. So I just started this list. So what we'll end up doing is getting it a little bit more with tabs behind who the contact people are, who the numbers are, and where the areas they are pre-qualified, so we don't have to do it again. And when the state asks, because anything that SRF, they're going to want to see that we selected the consultants by qualifications. We had to do that for HDR on that project, and so other ones here. And then, so that was more or less information. I'd be more happy to answer any questions on that.
Well, it's usually, that's what the state does, have pre-qualified consultants, so this just fits into the pattern that they use. So I think this is a great idea, and it's nice to see the list of the different people, different companies and what they're doing.
And now,
anybody else have any questions or comments? And then I think the next one you have is the fees for the seasonal water lines.
Yes, this is important. We had talked about this, and it really is, as we now have started communications with the residents in the areas where we're going to be putting in the year-round lines. And I think we want to formalize this. This is what we talked about. And just to go over quickly, if they had already been a year-round and they have a year-round line, but it's considered private, technically they're not going to pay a fee because they've already been on the system. They've been paying the monthly fees for how long they've been on. If they have been a seasonal line, so they're only now serviced between this time, April to October, they will be paying a $3,000 upgrade for a standard 3-bedroom or smaller house. So if it's only 1 bedroom, you're still paying $3,000. If it's 4 bedrooms, then you're paying an extra $1,000 per bedroom. And that's kind of based on how our rates are now. If you have no service, but you want service, so they're either taking lake water or they have a well, but they do want to hook up, then they pay the regular fee, which is $6,000 for a 3-bedroom. And this is not going to give us 100% recoup of our cost, but I think what it does is it's a fair system that we can kind of use, because some might be a little more complicated than others, and we're improving a deficiency within our system. So we have the responsibility, as much as I've been putting this off, and I talked about this, I can remember when Brian Carroll was here, in 2006 or 7. But it's a difficult one, so I think this is a good. We have now the $500,000. We're going to get at least 3 projects done this year, maybe a 4th one, so we are moving quickly on those. So we will be issuing contracts, and then we will come back and continue until we get all of them up to code one way or another. But I think this is happy to answer any questions on that.
Does any board members have any questions, concerns? Does somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to. Where are we here? To approve amending the water rate fee schedule for the seasonal water line project as provided effective, what would you want this effective, April 15th or something like that, Dave, or today's date?
Yeah, I think today's date's fine, because what we're going to do is we'll type up, because we have the water regs, and the notes of meeting will say as effective today.
Yep.
It won't happen, but it'll be pretty soon.
Yep.
And
effective April 6th then.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have that. Dave, this is yours when you before
Okay,
you go.
now, the next item, are you going to go back to municipal electric building?
We're going, that's the next item on our agenda. Okay. We had a copy set. Thank you, David.
And I know, again, you did have it ahead of time, and the issue was, we really were trying to get behind the MED. It's been a goal for 10 years, I think, for the Selectmen. Let's do something with this building. And we had some great ideas from the Girl Scouts about a community center that really looks like a great idea, maybe a good spot for it, but unfortunately, the building is not so good. And I am, I don't know, we have a masonry coming in Monday with Bergeron to look at how much we're talking about, but everywhere you turn, it's not only an old building, it's an old building with lead paint, it's an old building with asbestos, it's with PCBs, it has leaks in the roof. There's nothing there to save except for the walls and maybe the roof. And it's awkward because it was built in 3 phases. So it's something I think we need to think about. I don't know if we intend to discuss a lot of it tonight. I could answer some of the questions about the study or whether or not, but it's going to be a difficult building to renovate. That's what I get out of this report.
Yeah, I guess I would. Can we get this up on the website? Do you have it electronically?
Yes, that can happen, yes.
I think that's important that we get it up on the website and the public know that it's there and get a chance.
I have
to-
it electronically. I can have.
You do? Okay, it's in the size that you can get it?
I can have it, get it to David to be uploaded.
I just wasn't sure if it's small enough so you can PDF it.
He'll be able to.
Okay, great.
I'll take care of that.
Awesome.
Board members, anybody have any, Brad?
Yeah, question, Dave. Reading through this, I understand that, and you just mentioned too, masonry contractor's got to come in, take a look at the walls, see if the cavities, get the water in them is deteriorated. Is a lot of the decision or the conclusions going to be dependent upon their report moving forward, or you pretty much got a good feel for what's good or what's bad in there already?
I would have to defer from that. I'd rather bring in someone who's an expert on buildings. I think Dave would have a better clue. Maybe CCI can do us a favor, take a look at it. It's a hard one. My heart has been, let's fix this building, let's make it a community center. Now maybe the only thing we save is the front of the building. I mean, it's so sad, but in terms of construction, we know what it's like to work on an old building and save an old building. We've done it, it's great. But then sometimes you can't save them.
Open up a hornet's nest, yeah.
This was also in stages and different levels, which was another, because you go
Right.
down to the pit where the old, I guess they were, turbines were down there. And
Oh, there's positive things here too. There's things that this can be saved. So it's not like it's a total loss. It's just the question is.
the price tag.
Right.
Gotcha. Yep.
And depending what you want to use it for. So if you can live within this little footprint the way it is, then maybe it is. But if you have a vision for a bigger building that encompasses the community center, which would disappear, and it then becomes a community center with a pool and a pickleball court and different levels and a nice green roof on it overlooking the bay. You know, it could, again, if you dream like we did with the ice skating rink, you could have a world-class facility there. Or maybe a police station. I don't know. Because if you take it out clean, it's a great location. But it has a back parking lot, and it's down there. So it has a lot of options, but I think at this point we have to face reality, and that as though the Girl Scouts did an amazing job, and I'd like to continue to support the idea of a community center. Maybe this may not be the building, but maybe the spot, because it's still, we have the outlay. So I still have great visions for it, but I don't know, and then maybe the foundation we could use. I don't know.
Well, you're going to get more data. You're going to get the information on the bricks.
Well, that's going to be an opinion, and that's going to be something you need to be prepared to. And then I think the idea of getting it out to the public, and then at some point we should talk to the people who, presented the project. So they need to understand it may not be so simple to save the building. And then we got to talk about what we're going to do about our community center, with all the needs. Again, we just talked about, so I don't know where you go with that.
I think it'd be interesting to get CCI in, if they can take a quick look at the building. I think that gives us another perspective. 'Cause I think I would like to have another perspective.
Yeah, no, I see them. They're all over the place now, and we're working with them. So I have an extra copy of the report. I see if I can get it to one of the guys I know, and then they can do us a favor, take a look at it, and say what it looks like. And the masonry guy's going to be here Monday, and that's the key piece. But it's the gut feeling when you look at you got to abate all these things. That's that has to be done. Some of the stuff has to be, if you're going to reuse it, it's one way of taking care of it. Like for instance, you got to take all the lead paint off the walls versus it's just all going to go in a dumpster.
I think we all understand.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions?
When they're coming to look at it, the masonry people, can I visit at the same time? No. I've never seen the inside of the building.
That's too bad.
Oh. It's too condemned for me to go in?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
We should not let anyone in the building.
All right.
Only people who I'm only kidding. I need to get a key. I'm not going to be in Monday.
You're going.
I've never been able to get it.
Does anybody else have any questions for
You should take a look at it. You should take a look at it.
Yes, he was kidding you. Yeah, he was just writing you.
What time is the masonry guy coming?
I think like after lunch, 12:30, 1, so I can get you on an email train.
Okay. Has anybody else ever been in the building?
Oh, yeah, I was in it. Yeah.
There used to be
I have not.
dispatch
I
for the
can't-
police
I can't-
department years ago.
I went in when we did the facilities for the master plan, and we walked through the whole building.
I think if you read the conclusion, it sums it up pretty good.
Yeah,
Actually.
I have, and I'd just like to see.
No, you should go in. You should
You don't
go
want to
see
be
it,
touching things when you go.
No.
and then lick your hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't eat the paint.
Okay, so we'll get more information on that.
Yes.
Okay. I'll just flip. We have, the next thing is the master plan. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to pull up the dead tree in Kate Park so you can go home. So
As long as
you
we don't have anything in non-public that I have to be here for? No? Okay. So the dead tree is sad, and it happened quickly, and I think many of the public will want to know what the heck happened. Why did we cut this tree down? And it was in really bad shape. I had Kirk Titus look at it. It has the emerald ash borer. It got to it quickly, and while there was still a lot of limbs and it might have leafed out, the danger to the public with the amount of people we have there, I talked to Jim. I thought it was a public safety issue. So it was cut down today.
Okay.
We're going to try to grind the stump out of it, and then we're going to try to live with it for one season, take a look at it, what we might want to do with the open space. It's a big root mass, so if we pulled the root to put another tree in, it would create a big hole, and so we would want to talk about that for a little bit. So you might want to take a look at that particular area because it's such and the dock project is coming along really nice, so it really is something we want to think about. The other problem with this is what I said earlier. The emerald ash borer is really another
Unbelievable.
serious problem. I think we may have a serious injury from a tree falling on someone before we have someone, the road accidents they talk about happening. We're going to put out a bid, and we have that $20,000 in the budget, but we may be looking for additional money, or we may have to, because we're going to try to do the worst ones. Wow, it's amazing how fast it's come, and it's kind of scary. And we're going to try to stick to trees that if they fell down, they fall on the road. If they fall on the power lines, we're going to be talking to Barry. So I'd like to see get Barry involved in this also, because he has deep pockets. See if we can tap into him. And then unfortunately, if people have trees that are on their property or in the front of their property, but they're leaning towards their area, then they're going to have to take care. We're not going to be able to help homeowners. We can only help the trees that fall on the power lines or fall in the road, and that's sometimes a subjective issue. But we're going to try to do the best we can, and again, it's really scary.
So
anyways, I just wanted to have that as a notice so you know what's going on.
So you're going to meet on staff's going to meet on dealing with more trees, and you'll get back to us.
We are going to do the best to put out a bid, and we got some more emergency POs to take ones we have to get done right away.
This one's been taken down.
This one's down.
That one's dead.
That one's down.
Yeah. In fact,
I went down and looked at it, and you
you
could
saw how
see
bad it was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes, have a good night.
Yep. Okay, the last thing on, we'll go back to the master plan. I worked with Peter Goodwin and Kathy Barnard, and I brought to you the goals that we're given to the Board of Selectmen. Then I brought to you the ones I thought we had worked on, and I didn't get any more comments. I put that in. These are the ones that we haven't made any progress on it. They're giving it back to us. I just wanted to make sure you all got it, and I think it's something that Dave, in the next year, we should take a look at whether we want to do any of that before we get into budget. It really is more information for us, and to put it on our work calendar for the next year. So that's that. Hey, does anybody have any other business? Hearing none. Committee reports, and I'll start with Brian.
Start the other end.
All right, I'll start with Brad.
No, started there, no.
Okay, I'll start with
No,
Brian.
I'm just kidding.
Whichever one.
I had an energy committee meeting, and we're really starting to look at solar projects in town. There was a nice study that was put together. I'm having requests for the EV chargers to be put in for the 107th time. Other than that, I don't think I had much.
I can't remember if I had our public safety building meeting before our last meeting, but we had a public safety building meeting a few weeks ago.
Wolfeboro Waters.
Wolfeboro Waters. Zoning board Monday night. Pretty much it.
Okay, I had a meeting with the subcommittee of Wolfeboro Waters. It was the assessing subcommittee, and we looked at the testing that we're going to do in the coming year. I went to Wolfeboro Waters. They're going to move and put together the Russ Pond North Inlet, and they'll oversee that and make sure that gets going. They're going to underwrite the water summit that's going to be put out by, going to be done by the Wentworth Watershed Association, and that's going to be on May 14th. And then they got recommendations from the assessing committee to buy some equipment that will allow us to do more analysis to take a look at the smaller cyanobacteria, which seems to be, we may have more of those than we have of the regular cyanobacteria, and the committee approved them spending the money for that. I had 2 friends of Pop Whalen, and that's all I have. Dave?
I had none.
Okay.
On
Brad?
vacation.
I was on vacation.
Yeah, I've had a community TV meeting. We had a planning board meeting last night. The only public hearing we had there was Hell Centenario restaurant across the street here. They're going to put up a nice pergola out over the outside dining that's in the front of the building there now. Incorporate that into the flower boxes they have, and they're going to put an addition on the back of the building, build a new kitchen back there, and expand the inside dining so they have a little more elbow room inside. So that was a nice little project to see happening. And then I've had a couple of meetings with Jim and Dave there on the ARPA funds and stuff, trying to come up with some of these things that we talked about tonight. That was it.
Okay. We will move on to the town manager's report.
Just a few things, as Brad said. We've had multiple meetings regarding the ARPA funds. So that project relative to Pleasant Valley, while it was good to hear the input tonight, it was also good to see that Dave was on top of it and looking for a solution before we got to this point. Pop Whalen, the demolition permit is signed, sealed, delivered. The boards are out. A bunch of demolition internally is occurring, and that project is off and running. The only other thing I would have to add is yesterday Brian forgot he had attended a swearing in of deputy fire chief and 2 new firefighters, and that's about it.
One thing I can add, that the Friends of Pop Whalen on their website is going to have pictures of the demolition and then the construction, so anybody wants to see what's happening, they can go to the Friends of Pop Whalen website to see that.
My hopes are, on a monthly basis, I'm going to give you a report on finances expended to date, and where we're at on the project. I believe it's in 2 weeks we start weekly construction meetings, so.
Yep. And we haven't had any monthly budget reports yet this year, and I'm assuming we'll get that in April?
Yeah, so Casey being out medically kind of put that on the back burner. She's getting ready for audit. I anticipate soon you will be seeing one coming in front of you.
Thank you.
Linda, one more. So tomorrow morning at 11:30 is the House meeting for 249. Anybody who wants to drive down and participate, or I can send you a link for a streaming on YouTube so you can at least watch it and see what's discussed. I'm on the fence about going down.
I thought about going too, and then I felt that we had really made it clear to our representatives.
If you buy me lunch, I'll drive you.
Well, I'll have to think about that. Where are you going to take me for lunch?
Don't forget he has an electric vehicle, too.
I do. I like that, though.
Sure he has enough power.
I will. I'll have to check that before we leave, right? Okay. Any comments from the press? Hearing and seeing none. Any comments from the public? Hearing and seeing no one here. Can I have a motion to go into non-public?
So move.
Second.
All those, Brad?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Linda, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Brown.